Radical.
Imagine how bad things are going for the Joe Biden re-election campaign when even Batman, George Clooney, even George Clooney, who played Batman in the best Batman movies, the ones with Arnold Schwarzenegger, yo, freeze, chill out. People say they're bad and everything, but they're kind of campy, you know. Even Batman is calling for you to step aside, man. There's a lot of people, but even Batman, right? I could talk about a lot of people calling him to step aside. People that normally would support the Democratic candidate, whoever it was, for whatever reason, like Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, basically mainstream media, comedians and whatnot. But even they see that they can't. It's just too much. Man, Jon Stewart even had like a chart he brought out, and it mentioned like the moments. Like, huh? What? And it was moments to where Joe Biden straight up forgot about people that passed away. Still talked like they were here. That's a little messed up. But it's not as disrespectful because he just generally, there was one person that passed away not even 6 weeks before, but he was looking around like, hey, where's she at? Where's she at? I think he was at her funeral, I believe, 6 weeks prior. He doesn't remember. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know where he was I don't think he knows where he was 6 hours ago, let alone 6 weeks. But anyway, back to the main topic here. George Clooney, who is a fundraiser, one of the fundraisers for Joe Biden, said, and quote, he wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. That's a damning statement, because that means even the Joe Biden of 2020, who was not spry by any means, if you're not even that Joe Biden, and a lot of people thought he was a little dropped off. It was questionable whether he should even run for president. That guy is a charismatic, brilliant son of a bitch compared to whatever this mumbling bowl of mashed potatoes is. Just go back and forth if you don't believe me. There's a lot of comparison videos between Joe Biden 2020 to Joe Biden 2024. You know, it's like comparing video that's 240p versus 4K. It's that big of a freaking difference. But George Clooney said, and quote, he was the same man we all witnessed at the debate. Was he tired? Yeah. A cold? Maybe. But our party leaders need to stop telling us that 51 million people didn't see what we just saw. He said, we're all so terrified by the prospect of a second Trump term that we opted to ignore every single warning sign. End quote. Oh, whoops. I wasn't supposed to read that part. Could you imagine that shit? Could you imagine a leader of the country and arguably the free world that is barely able to get through teleprompter, barely able to read a teleprompter to get through his speeches, mumbles, trips over his own words? You're lucky if he doesn't fall asleep if it's past like 8 p.m. or something. And he says that. End of quote. You're not supposed to say that. And I think on the teleprompter, it makes it very clear you're not supposed to say that. I saw him mumbling through like a NATO speech, and it took him about 5 minutes to place a medal around somebody's neck. But some people are saying like, hey, good job, Joe. You didn't strangle him with the medal. That's a great job. So Jill's basically his biggest cheerleader. Like, yeah, you're standing upright. You didn't crap yourself. Good job, Joe. Here's a fucking cookie. Now, George Clooney said, this isn't only my opinion. This is the opinion of every senator and Congress member and governor who I've spoken with in private. Every single one, irrespective of what he or she is saying publicly. So you know what that means? That means all these Democrats that are, getting on the news, getting on all these interviews, all these people that are carrying water for old senile Joe. All these people have no fucking spine. No fucking spine whatsoever. This is beyond party. Okay, don't get it twisted. This is not a Republican or Democratic thing. This is beyond party. I think at a base minimum, we Americans, we deserve a leader that is coherent. Just coherent. Just here and active and able to just walk and talk and do the things like most people, like all of you listening, can do. So, but am I asking too fucking much? Am I? It's just crazy. Like all these people. I think there's one AOC, I forget what her name is. She came out supporting the president. But what George Clooney is saying is behind closed doors, this is what they're telling him. This is what they're talking to about the donors. So that's all these motherfuckers are just lying when they come on the news and say like, yes, we got to stop this Trump guy. We got to stop this second Trump term, you know? Joe is the guy to do that. They don't want to talk about Joe. They don't want to talk about any of his episodes. They don't want to talk about what they should be talking about, which is he able, will he be able for 4 more years to do what he's doing right now? He's not capable or able right now. I can't understand. Also, on all the YouTube uploads that I've checked out, people talking about this, I can't understand the level that some people just absolutely despise and hate Republicans that are just going to back Democrats no matter what. People that just fundamentally hate everything about one party, but not understanding that the other party is incredibly dirty by doing this to the American people. They are not only dirty, but they're fucking spineless. What does it say to you as an American to see all of these people lining up behind old senile Joe, lining up behind somebody who's lost their marbles, who's no longer able to do the job, who is feeble, who can't walk, who can't talk, who needs help even directing himself? At that NATO summit, I think somebody even directed him where to go. You could tell the fucker's lost. Okay? If you saw Joe Biden and he wasn't wearing a suit, any of you that are really big fans of Joe Biden, love Joe to death, and would vote for him no matter what, answer this for me. If you saw Joe Biden and he wasn't the president, and he was wearing some khakis and a sweater vest, if you saw him anywhere, wouldn't you ask yourself, okay, where's his caretaker? Be fucking honest. You would wonder where his caretaker was. Take the suit away, take the presidency away, take the fact that his name is Joe Biden away. All right? I know Trump is not perfect. A lot of Republicans aren't perfect. But if it's a choice between Donald Trump, who is far from perfect, but if you see him out somewhere, you'd be like, okay, all right. He has his faculties for the most part. I mean, sometimes he gets a little out there, but he has his faculties. You wouldn't ask yourself, okay, where's his caretaker? It's very simple. If somebody needs to be directed on what to say on a fucking teleprompter, if they need to be directed on where to go, what to do, if they need to be handled, all right? I don't think someone that needs to be handled and has handlers and caretakers and nurses and doctors should be president now or should be in the future. One quick thing. There's so many fucking things that have happened in the last couple of days. I don't think I mentioned. So excuse me if I go into some other stuff that is non-George Clooney, non-Batman related here. He had an interview with George Clooney. My bad. He had an interview with George Stephanopoulos. That's what got me. George being first in the titles. And it was mostly a softball interview. And, George Stephanopoulos, Fuffaluffagus. What was that dude from the damn Snuffleupagus in the Sesame Street, I believe? Sorry. But Stephanopoulos, who was tightly connected to the Clinton campaigns, you would think, well, this is a safe person, safe ground to go to. He went to that interview, couple things about that interview. He was asked basically, you're losing in the polls, and if you do lose to Donald Trump, what happens? And he says, well, I guess I gave my best shot. That's not something you want to hear from somebody that's actually fighting to win. I mean, if you're hearing that and you're on his side and backing him, you're like, well, what the fuck? The frustration, if you're on either side of the party. And let's say there was a senile fucker on the Republican side of the party that, was in that situation. Doesn't matter. Either way, you wouldn't like to hear that. Also, he was asked, now, the debate wasn't that long ago. He was asked by Stephanopoulos, I'm sorry, just George. He was asked by George if he had seen the debate. And he looks up to the left and he goes like, oh, I don't think I did. Motherfucker, just be honest. You don't know if you did? Maybe he was being honest, which is terrifying. You don't remember if you watched your own fucking debate. All right, it's not an episode of Big Bang Theory. It's not a rerun of Big Bang Theory or whatever. It's not the episode where, Sheldon is trying to seduce Blossom, Malambolic, spraying deer musk on his thighs. It's not that episode. You're not trying to remember a movie line or something. No. Joe, do you remember if you watched yourself in the debate? I don't think I did. You don't fucking know? Did he know the debate was even happening, man? One quick note. Look up, that puppet guy, Spark of Insanity, Jeff Dunham? Please look that shit up. He has Walter play as a puppet, and it's fucking hilarious. I'm not even going to spoil it and tell you any of the jokes, but I might leave a link to it after this. It's fucking hilarious, man. Walter's like the perfect little puppet Biden. Speaking of puppet, he might just be a meat puppet. Jill's meat puppet or whatever. Damn it, I'm all over the place because there's so much I want to squeeze in here without having more uploads in the future. One other thing about that is he got shut down though by George when he tried to brag about his crowd sizes. And George basically said, you don't want to get that started comparing crowd sizes to Trump, because I think I'm not saying there's barely nobody that shows up to watch Biden mumble and drool over himself, but it's like a bingo hall. There's hardly that many people. I mean, Trump can fill fucking stadiums of people that go to see him. So it's almost like Biden is jealous of Trump. I'll tell you why. This fucker's not only talking about golf and how he's a better golfer in his golf game compared to him at the debate, not only talking about his crowd size, but he's orange. He's orange. He is super orange. They emptied a couple cans of spray paint. He is bright orange, man. Talk about Trump being orange. No. Check out Biden lately. Check out Biden, man. I guess they're trying to tan him up so he doesn't look as half dead as he is. Okay, it's a tactic. What was one more quick thing I wanted to mention? Well, two more quick things. I'm sorry, this is not quick. There's just so much I got to squeeze in here that's happened in the last week or so. He said that he created the computer chip. Yeah, about 40 years ago, he created the computer chip. It's not true, by the way. He didn't even create the potato chip. He didn't create any chips. So there's no chip creation. I don't get that. But the funniest fucking thing I'll leave you with that he said, and I didn't believe he said this shit. He said, let's see, I don't have the exact quote in front of me. Something along the lines of, he started to mumble, I am proud to be the first black female vice president to serve the first black president. Which is funny in a lot of respects. Because, you see, he's not a lady. He was the vice president. He's not black. He's very not black. He's orange now, but he's not black. But he said this shit. Like, he literally said this shit. I didn't believe it till I looked it up. And I'm like, no, he said this shit. Maybe it's also a tell that maybe Obama's running things again, because he says he's the first female black vice president to serve a black president. Yeah, some crazy shit, man. crazy shit. I just don't, I don't know. I do not know how the Democrats keep this farce up. I don't know how they're keeping doing. I don't know what the calculation is, because if they come out, and the idea is that they come out and support Biden, and then it's revealed and he steps down because he's, not able to do the job, to say the least, then it makes those people that are supporting him right now, saying he's the guy for the job, makes them look stupid. And then later on, if they're in their races, then their opponent can basically say they supported a senile fuck. They didn't have the guts to basically call out a person in their own party that stepped down because they admitted they couldn't do the job. But the other part of it is maybe they're making a calculation that he's holding on to power. He is not giving up without a fight. So it might actually, I'll swing around here, it might actually take George Clooney dressing up as Batman and coming into the White House. Well, they let him in, let him in the front door. He dresses up as Batman, and he basically scares the shit out of Joe Biden, meaning he scares him so bad he craps his pants. Actually, come to think of it, you might not even need Batman scaring him for him to crap his pants. He might do that already. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the man wears the pins as it is. There's been so much of a delay in this upload. I meant to upload this days ago, but you gotta understand, it seems like every fucking day Biden is coming hard and heavy with the gaffes. Beyond gaffes. These are just straight up fuck ups. Like, listen to this. Listen to this right here.
What concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president because I think she was not qualified to be president.
He wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president if he didn't think he was qualified to be president. So right there, the man thinks Trump is qualified to be president. The man is spraying himself bright orange. The man is talking about his golf game and how he wants to golf and go up against Trump. He's talking about how big crowd sizes he has. Obviously, he thinks highly of Trump. He said it right there. It's a little bit of a tell because, he's just on his mind. And he also made a mistake later calling someone Vladimir Putin. You got to understand. He's only got so many brain cells left, so there's only a couple functioning, right? He can only hold about 10 names at any time in his mind at once. So sorry, Kamala, you have no room in Biden's brain. You ain't got no room, right? So what's crazy to think here for me is the fact that you have his handlers, his people. They were saying that this press conference was a big boy press conference. Like he was going to go have himself they really said that. This is his big boy day. Do they not realize that's kind of a self-own when you have Joe Biden out here basically saying to him, yay, Joe, you did a great job. You answered all the questions at the debate. Patting him on his fucking head like he's a little kid. Maybe it's an inside joke at him, like, oh, this is your big boy interview. He puts on his big boy pants, hopefully doesn't shit his big boy pants, goes out there and answers questions. Well, you fail the big boy test. You're not a big boy. You're a little boy. It just sounds so fucking silly. This whole thing is silly. Like, this is crazier than any TV show that you could imagine, like any political TV show. Except maybe that movie with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. Was it Will Ferrell in there? Or was it somebody else? That was a fucking hilarious movie. Maybe that's a little more crazier and out there. But I don't know. Maybe that's not even. Think of any political, comedy you've seen. This is prime political comedy right here. That's one reason I'm covering it. Not because I'm particularly like really involved in it one way or the other, but you gotta understand this is great for a person like me, a satirist. This is a freaking gold mine, man. I mean, when it comes to Biden, I can almost have an upload a day on Biden, but I'm trying to just kind of smush all these together in one upload. This guy's an absolute fucking train wreck. And honestly, just count down. I would say I'm making a prediction right now. Count down to when he's going to be replaced, because it's not far off. I'm just seeing here some breaking news. 17 legislators. It went from 7 to 17 now, are now calling for him to step down. I think in the next coming weeks, you're going to have some of the big dogs in the Democratic Party basically going out and saying, okay, Joe, it's time to go. Joe, it's time to go.